Emergency Center.
Tonight, Southeast Texans are looking back on Harvey a year ago this week when the hurricane disrupted the lives of millions living along the Texas Gulf Coast.
This week, in a series of special reports, we reflect on the monster storm's impact, and we see where we are now. KFDM's Angel San Juan gets us started tonight and joins us in the studio. And Angel, you're updating us on the status of a woman we first met through a phone call.
That's right, Tiffany. Miss Dorothy, like so many of us that night, did not know what to expect from Harvey. She just knew it was not good. And like so many of you, Miss Dorothy had to make a life or death decision quickly as Harvey's floodwater invaded her home. She was rescued, but her troubles were just beginning.
It's awful what I went through to get where it is.
Dorothy Henley finally has her dream home, but getting to this point was a nightmare.
It was very scary. I had never flooded before. I didn't really leave.
We first learned of Miss Dorothy, as she's become known to many of our viewers, when she made a frantic call to our station during the overnight hours when Tropical Storm Harvey was pounding our area with rain and floodwater was quickly rising in Port Arthur, where Dorothy lives.
Miss Dorothy, are you on the line there?
Her call got on air with anchor Jasmine Stiles and our longtime chief meteorologist, Greg Bostwick.
My first thought was, I'm going to call Channel 6 and I will get the right information. And I did, and I even was able to communicate with Greg. And that gave me a whole lot of confidence, more than I had.
An airboat eventually came to rescue Dorothy.
It had to actually pick me up because the water would have been over my head.
She still suffers from flashbacks.
For a long time, when someone started a car, it reminded me of the airboat that rescued us.
Dorothy left her home with 8 inches of water inside. Much more would flow in and destroy everything she owned.
I told myself, you have insurance. So what I didn't realize was that a whole lot of people had flooded. And I thought at first it was going to be a quick thing. Rebuild, and no, it wasn't.
Harvey finally left, but Miss Dorothy's struggles were just beginning.
That was hard to go to my agent and say, I have to pay my insurance for another year and I haven't got a dime yet. That's right, that keeps me going.
Miss Dorothy and Jasmine reunited a few weeks after the storm. At that time, Dorothy showed us the enormity of the damage to her home, but she remained upbeat and optimistic. Fearing looters, she decided to stay in her house during its reconstruction, which we could describe as Harvey's aftershock.
He came and, of course, was, very sympathetic and all this kind of stuff. And all that time, he was sticking a knife in my back.
Dorothy is talking about the contractor she hired.
I'm just now able to talk about it to you, Angel.
Miss Dorothy accuses that contractor of ripping her off, taking more than $30,000 from the 81-year-old storm victim.
I went 6 weeks sitting in a recliner, one recliner, in that sunroom, making calls and calls and calls to him. Never replied, never.
It's in that sunroom where Dorothy was forced to live for 9 months.
In the dust, sheetrock dust, the concrete dust, you have no idea.
It all began taking a toll on her health, Dorothy's doctor diagnosing her with congestive heart failure.
I asked him how that became about. Why do... The first thing he named was stress. I said, that's all I need to know.
Miss Dorothy says the house itself became a threat to her safety.
I fell 7 times in this house because that contractor did not put me a subfloor. I was walking on 2x4s. I broke my nose. I broke 2 ribs.
But Dorothy's still standing and considers herself blessed. She says she knows of others her age who couldn't survive Harvey's aftermath. The floodwaters eased, but the anguish overflowed.
It's hard when you're at this age. You're almost at the end of your life. And you got to start all over again.
Dorothy says she found an honest contractor who rebuilt her home just like she envisioned it.
The good Lord helped me. Even though I lost over $30,000, I still was able to do my house like I had it up here.
Miss Dorothy hopes her story inspires other Southeast Texans still in the midst of recovery not to give up. She remains strong, she says, because God did not give up on her.
He's keeping me for something, Angel. That's the attitude that I have, you know.
Tomorrow, Tom Wright continues our week-long series on Harvey. He talks to furniture entrepreneur and philanthropist Mattress Mac. Mattress